Hi there, Matt Heffernan. Welcome back to my channel. Of course, we have the Commander X16 here. And if you had seen the video when I did the initial unboxing of this, you know I got one of the very earliest models, the very first batch of the final prototype. And as a result, some things weren't quite complete yet, and that includes the keyboard. So I got, instead of the keyboard that was officially branded for the Commander X16, I got this plain Perix PS2 white keyboard, which the official one is based on. But instead of coming with the custom keycaps and the printed case, it came with these stickers. And you'll see in that video, I had to individually put all these stickers on. Now, the thing about this, first of all, it's not the world's greatest keyboard. This is a low-cost PS2 keyboard made for compatibility with older machines that may not be so good with USB or not even have USB at all. Like the Commander X16 doesn't have USB. It is a real deal 8-bit system. It has a little AT-tiny microcontroller on there to handle PS2 signaling. It does not have a USB controller on it, which would have a much higher load on that 6502 CPU, the real 6502 that's in there. So yeah, we have to have a PS2 keyboard, and there's not a lot of options. So either you're going to have a USB keyboard that can do PS2 signaling, and then you can have like an adapter to go from USB to PS2, or you can just have a native PS2 keyboard like this one. Now, it is not fun to type on, especially with the stickers. It has a very bad finger feel on that. But you know, you gotta have the little Petsky glyphs on here. So if you were to do some basic programming and wanting to put some of these Petsky graphics in line in your program, unless you have all that stuff memorized, like you're a hardcore Commodore 64 person, you're not going to know that. You're going to need to see these actual glyphs on the keys. So anyway, but you know, it's still good, especially if you were one of those 100 people that got the official keyboard. At least you're not going to have the stickers, so it's not going to feel as nice. But there is, of course, another option, and we're going to actually see what that option looks like right now, because I just finally got mine. But first, I want to show you one other thing. Another thing that I didn't get before, which is this other thing from the 8-bit guy. Now, what of course also have is this lovely PS2 mouse. Now, it is an optical mouse, no trackball on there. I know some people are trackball enthusiasts, but this is a modern mouse in every sense, except that it's also PS2 based. But even though it is a optical, and it can work pretty well right here on the retro desk, but it's still nice to have a mouse pad. So that's what we got right here. And let's take a look. I mean, this hand modeling can't go to waste. We got to do some unboxing. So first we're going to do this. Let's see what we got here. Now, you might have seen on David Murray, the 8-bit guy's video, he had shown one of these on there, but I've got mine now. Oh, look at, there it is. And look how nicely the blue matches the blue of the screen. So there we go. So this will go real nicely under there. Look at that. All right. Well, now I'm all set with the mouse pad, but we really want to see what we can do about improving our keyboard experience. But first, we need to have a word from our sponsor. Now, of course, you know the Commander X16 has this beautiful PCB on it. It's this big ATX-sized motherboard with all these through-hole components on there and this really nice blue solder mask. And of course, the company that gets you such a nice quality product like this is our sponsor, PCBWay. Now, PCBWay can get you PCBs for as little as $5 for some of the smaller ones, but beyond that, they do other things like 3D printing, they can do CNC machining, they can even do injection molding. So your prototype can go beyond just the PCB. It can include all of the different things you need to create your prototype or even go into production. And if your dream involves some sort of combination of electronic and mechanical design, go ahead and join the PCBWay 6th Project Design Contest going on right now through January 15th, 2024, and you'll have the chance to win some awesome prizes. The top prize is a robot cat. No allergies to worry about there, but there's other things like Raspberry Pis and Arduinos, all the kind of things that electronic mechanical makers enjoy to have and work with. So please visit PCBWay.com and make your dream a reality. The next part of the dream, of course, is in this box. It's a heavy little puppy here. So we're going to move our keyboard here and take a look what's in here. Now, instead of coming from the 8-bit guy, this comes from WASD keyboards, WASD keyboards. Now, this is a company that that the Commander X16 team has partnered with to create a high-end keyboard for folks that want to step it up from the basic Perix membrane keyboard. And WASD makes these really nice, high-quality, gaming quality keyboards. And they really lets you do all sorts of awesome customization. You can get whatever kind of switches you want on there with the sound dampeners, custom keycaps, and even custom printing on there. And it's those last two, of course, that made this very desirable for the Commander X16 project. So here it's just a standard WASD box. They didn't do any branding on there. The specialness comes after we open it. So here we got our nice little user sheet right here. So we can switch up the modes. So right now it's in standard QWERTY mode. If I want like Dvorak mode, Mac mode, Colmac mode. So yeah, there's different types of setups you can have on there. Of course, this is standard QWERTY out of the box. And yeah, so there's a lot of neat things. And of course, this being a modern keyboard, it does PS2 signaling, but it also does USB. So you can use it on your modern computer. And if you want to do it with a emulator for the C64, you can do that because it'd be a really good keyboard for that purpose. But, oh my goodness, this is a heavy boy. But here it is. The WASD mechanical Commander X16 keyboard. Oh, look at that. Very nice. No silly Windows buttons. Oh, this feels real nice. So now, when you order one of these, again, apart from the custom printing on there, it's nice color printing of Commander X16, and these custom keycaps, again, with the Petsky glyphs on there and the Commander X16 buttons. What you do have are customizable key switches in there. They all use Cherry MX switches, and you can decide what kind of action you want there. I went with the brown switch, so they're not super quiet, and they have a nice tactile feel. It's not a big click. I think it's a really nice thing. I use brown switches and other ones and other keyboards that I use, and it just feels really, really nice. And it's heavy too, because these WASD keyboards are attaching these switches to a metal plate on there and then soldering them into the PCBs inside. So they're real nice. And then if you do like the feel of a certain switch, but you don't like the travel or the noise, you can add different dampeners to it, those little O-rings, and they have two different varieties of that on there too. And it's real nice. Now, of course, this something like this is a luxury product, and it has a luxury price tag. And that price tag does change based on the kinds of switches and the dampeners and other options that you can put on there. But they start at $200. Now, of course, you can get a mechanical keyboard for less than that, but you're not going to get one with these keycaps. And if you're going to get any sort of keyboard with real Cherry MX switches, you're going to be up in this price point anyway. So this is a really nice thing. Oh, it just feels so nice. I don't know how many times I've said nice so far, but you know, you're just going to have to bear with me here. Now, I'm going to set the keyboard down, because what we need to do is get the cable out of there. Now, in the box, it comes with a black cable and one of these dude jobbers. So, I hate to use technical terms like dude jobbers, but you know, a more colloquial term might be a keycap tool. So what it does is say I didn't like these keycaps after all. I could go in there and pull off individual keycaps. This needs to be. So there's my M. There we go. And we can see here it has that nice sort of Lego bottom on there. And there we can see the brown switch underneath. And I can just pop that right back on there. So if I did want to change out that brown switch, I would have to desolder it from in there, but I could always add a sound dampener in if I wanted to, you know, however I want to do this up. But for now, I'm just going to keep it like this. And in here, I've got the cable. Now, this cable is just your standard USB cable. So it's got USB-C on one side and a USB-A on the other. And so we can see here, we've got on the back this USB-A, and then this can go right in there. So that took a little bit of persuasion, but I got it going right out the back there. All right, so there's our cable. Of course, you could always switch this cable if you wanted to have a white cable. That might look a little nicer for you. But then the last bit that comes in the box is this adapter for PS2. So we just pop that on there, and voila, it's now a PS2 keyboard. Now, of course, these adapters don't work on any keyboards. Say you have your own USB keyboard that you want to use with the Commander X16. It needs to be a keyboard like this one that is set up in its firmware to be able to do PS2 signaling. If it only does USB signaling, it's not going to work. So that's something to just be aware of. So let's plug this in to our Commander X16. So first I'm going to turn it off. And we're going to get it in there. Another close-up view of the case that we have here. So we're going to take out the old keyboard and put in this new one. So make sure we got that oriented correctly. And there we go. Nicely fit. Doesn't go in too tightly like the mouse one does, which is a bit unfortunate. So now I have this PS2 keyboard that I can use with other projects that use a PS2 mouse, including the Agon Lite 2, which has a USB form factor port on there, but only does PS2 signaling. So same with that is a USB keyboard, even though it has a USB port, it's not going to work on there. You need to have one that does the PS2 signaling. So you can either find one of those, or you could just attach this on there and then you're good to go. So anyway, we're going to put this keyboard away, and now we're going to use our nice new keyboard. Let's turn her back on. And there we go. There's our happy family of keyboard, mouse with mouse pad. And I'm filming now on my flat screen monitor so that we don't get all the craziness of the CRT. Generally, when I'm using Commander X16, I'm using the CRT because it looks nicer in person, but on camera, this looks nicer. So there's one more thing I want to show you while I have your attention here on the Commander X16, and that is the project I'm working on. I gave you a little sneak peek at it. I'm a little further along, and we're going to see. So CD. Oh, I'm so excited to use the keyboard. I forgot how to use the Commander DOS. So CDT for tile editor. So this is going to be part of the ROM that will be burnt into the Commander X16 on models that'll go out in the future. But of course, you can do ROM updates via SD card also, and so it will be part of the built-in software. But for now, I have to use this basic loader to get it to run. And here it is. So running on the real hardware. It looks pretty nice here. This is a as modern a GUI type application as we can have on a old system like this without using actual bitmap graphics. This is using the text graphics, so it's going to be, I think, a lot more performative than if it did bitmap graphics. So here it is, the tile editor, and I have a tile set loaded up because you'll notice this is not the default palette of the Commander X16. It's the palette of Chase Fault. So here's tile 1 of Chase Fault, these brick walls. And this is the actual color that you'll see in the game. Now you can see down here the preview of what the tile looks like. Now this is in full resolution. When you play the game, it's actually in 320 by 240, so it's going to be blown up to twice this size. But for now, we can use this for editing and going through and seeing all the tiles are in there and see how the tiles look at different palette offsets. Once I get up to here, 4, 5, and 6, for the different levels, they're alternating between those, so I can modify these tiles and make sure they look good in all the different palettes that are going to be used for it. So now let's say we go through our tile set and we see something that we don't want. Like, I don't want these horizontal bars anymore. Well, I can hit the clear button and I could just start editing. So I've got color 1, which is the white. Let me go back to that palette offset 0, and then I can say here I want green in the middle and a little blue here, and then the lighter blue up here, and there I've got my sort of eye looking thing here. I'll get some of the yellow. All right, here's my creepy eye that is going to be in place of that, but it's not in the right spot, so instead I want to shift it around. So I'm going to shift it over here, and then I can take a look at what a different looks this one looks like in different palette offsets. Oh, red eyes, green eyes, orange eyes. Oh, and changing the different colors there. So yeah, very neat things to do with all the tiles. And of course, going through and seeing things like our little Chase Fault guy. And now I want to see that, all right, this is what it looks like facing this direction. What if he's what does he look like if he's facing the left? Well, I can look down here in the preview and I can turn on the horizontal flipping, and there he is. Or if he's on his head, there's the vertical flipping. And then I can get up over here to where I have my character set. Of course, it's all about the money for this free and open source game. And then I can see down here what my different character glyphs look like in these different colors down here at palette offsets 9, 10, 11, 12. I'll have the different colors for the text on there. So yeah, you can go through and create everything you want. Say that we don't want to use the percent sign. We have no need for that. That what we want to have is something similar to the dollar sign. So we'll copy the dollar sign, go over here to the percent sign, and we'll paste the dollar sign. So now tile 37 and 36 are both that, but we want to make this, I don't know, maybe we'll create a crypto version of the game. So we'll make this into, say, the Bitcoin logo. Oh, look at this. All right, so now we can play in Bitcoin or dollars. I'm sure to make $5 billion from this amazing idea. So there you go. That's what we have so far in there. There's a lot more features that are going to come in, and we're going to have all of these file menus and other things. These our drop downs will work with additional features. Of course, you can do tiles already of different sizes. Right now we're at 16 by 16 with a 16 color depth. I can change that to 32 by 32. Of course, it looks a little wacky there. And I can change the color depth, and I change it 256. I got just garbage because I'm way too far into it, but that's as high as it goes now. It will go up to 64 by 64, and so we'll need the scroll bars in there for that. But it can also go all the way down to 8 by 8 and 2 color. And let me get back to one of these palette offsets. So here we can see this is also not the right dimensions for this tile set, but it is the right dimensions for the default character set. So another loader that I have on here, which I can show you. Let me first reset. So here I have the pal.bin and tiles.bin from Chasefault, which is auto loading right now. I can just go ahead and delete those with some DOS commands. The DOS command is scratch. Actually, so hey, let's scratch pal.bin. And I'm going to scratch tiles.bin. And then what I'm going to do is new up and load the alternate loader, which is careload.prg. And I run that. Now it's taking a pregnant pause there because it takes a while to load it. What it's doing is loading the characters, the character set from one part of VRAM to another, so that then it's in this part that we can edit. And right now it looks like gobbledygook because we're expecting to be 16 by 16 by 16. So let's make it 8 by 8 by 2. And there it is. Look, that's definitely a screen index 0 is the @ symbol. And A, B, C, D. So you want to make your own character set, you could totally do it with this program. And you can actually do it right now with the alpha version of the program. It's kind of janky to use in its alpha state, but once it's feature complete, this will be a really nice tool to have at your disposal at any time on the Commander X16. So we'll see more of this as it evolves, as we get into the final alpha release, which is coming soon. I'm working on that now. And then eventually the first beta release, which should be the first feature complete version of the software. And as we're going, releasing it to the community on GitHub, links in the description. And if you want to test it, either you have the hardware or if you're using the emulator, either one, it works equally well. But on the hardware, it works especially nice because then you have the real mouse to work with. The performance of the mouse is actually much better in hardware than it is on the emulator. So I would highly recommend, if you have the hardware, to test it on the hardware and use it there and get a feel for it. So there we go. One only other thing left to show you now is our most important part of every video, of course, is to thank our patrons. So let's load them up. And there we go. It's because of these folks that I'm able to get things like this beautiful keyboard and the mouse pad and all of these other expenses that rack up. It really helps me be able to bring you all sorts of cool things on my channel and to also bring things like this to conventions. And speaking of that, I will be at the Retro Game Con in Syracuse, New York on October 7th and 8th. That whole weekend I will be there. I am going to have the Commander X16 there. I'm going to have the Aegon Light 2. I'm going to have the Aquarius Plus. I'm going to have the ZX Spectrum next. I'm going to have the TT Go VGA 32. I am going to have the Mr. Multi system. I'm going to have all of these great modern retro systems on there side by side with all these people's dusty Nintendos and Ataris. We're going to try to bring something new to the retro community there. And I hope to see you there. If you live anywhere in the Northeast, Syracuse is a nicely centrally located city. It's my hometown. So I'll be there and able to hang out with some of my old friends and family at that convention. So I hope you show up there, and I hope that you, if you're not interested in monetarily supporting my channel directly through Patreon, where of course you can see videos like this completely ad-free before they become available to the general public, it is 100% free to subscribe to this channel. And please engage by liking and commenting on these videos and letting YouTube know that this is the kind of content you like to see and you want to see more of it. All right, I hope to see you again real soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.